And I'm just so grateful that Steve told you all the things that I have to do on a weekly basis, so you have plenty of grace for me if this is really bad. He doesn't know, but I also took a college final this week, and I got 91% in that class, so I passed with an A. Thank you. I'm still running every day. In fact, on Saturday I ran 3 miles, so again, you could clap for that too. Yeah, let's keep it going. And I'm a father of 3. Woo! So, got all the things. Whoops. Be funny if I said I was a father of 4. Like, that's how we tell you. No. But we are in the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 1. So, you can take out your Bibles if you want. And if you are a Bible nerd, I suggest you take notes. You might have to get out your phone and take notes on there. Josh, lock eyes. Yeah. Because we're going to get into some nerdery today. So, 1 Samuel chapter 1, up until this point in Scripture, we have met some people, and the rabbis like to play this game. They like to play this game called Where Have I Heard That Before? And so as we read 1 Samuel, I want you to think about that in your head. And I'm gonna throw some things out to you, where we get to see Sarah and Rebecca and Rachel, and if you don't remember who those folks are, they are different wives that we see in Genesis, who none of them have children at first. And they all need prayer, and they all petition the Lord, and the Lord blesses them. Spoilers if you haven't got that far. We see Hagar and Leah, who are wives who are less loved than others, who are hurt, whose feelings are betrayed. We see Abraham, who is a father who sacrifices his son, or is willing to. He takes him up a mountain and is going to present him to the Lord, but the Lord stops him. And we see Samson's mom, who also is a mom who is barren. And when her son is born, she makes a vow to the Lord to give him to the Lord for his causes. And so, as we're reading in our scripture today, I want you to have those in your mind. I want you to be thinking about them. All right, and so, we also see, gotta pause before we get into it. We also see some themes in Scripture later, okay? So in the New Testament, we see Hannah is very similar to Mary. Hannah has a little section where she does a song, much like Mary does, her Magnificat, in Luke chapter 1. We also see the similar thing in Samuel chapter 2. We see Hannah in the Old Testament, and we see Anna in the New Testament. And that's also in Luke chapter 2, when Jesus is presented to the temple, and Mary brings him in. This lady's been waiting there for a child to come in. And she is so excited. She's like, runs over and says, this is the Christ, this is the child. And she's so excited for this child. And in the same way, we're going to see Hannah very excited for her child. And for you Greek nerds, sometimes, because different versions of a name will have different sounds on it, but sometimes Hannah and Anna are said the same. So sometimes they're the same word. And then we see Samuel, who is Hannah's son, compared to Jesus. We see him being described as growing as a young man in the same way that Jesus is growing as a young man, growing in stature and in favor with God and with people. And it's almost the exact same phrase as well. We also see Jesus in the book of Luke is the book where he gets left at the temple, or rather where he stays behind at the temple. And so we can see the parallels there, where Samuel, Hannah's son, gets to stay and work at the tabernacle and with the Lord's people. So kind of exciting. I don't know, if you get into the nerdery of seeing parallels, you would like that. But let's begin. Chapter 1, Samuel, verse 1. There was a man from Rephaim, a Zuphite from the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah, son of Jeroham, son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, the Ephraimite. He had 2 wives. Say, uh-oh. Uh-oh. That never goes well, does it? One was called Hannah. The other, Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had none. And so, Elkanah likely had his children, or got married to Hannah. He realized she was barren and she couldn't have children, and he decided to marry again. That's kind of what is setting up. And so Hannah's whole identity in the marriage was expected to be this child giver, this one who would bear children for Elkanah, for her family line. And when she finds out she can't do that, guess what happens? Elkanah goes out and he finds someone who can. Year after year, this man, that's Elkanah. We should, if you're looking for a name for your boy, Elkanah, it's up there, I'm sure. Should be on your list. Year after year, this man went up from his town to worship and sacrifice to the Lord Almighty at Shiloh, where Hophni and Phinehas, the two sons of Eli, were priests of the Lord. Whenever the day came for Elkanah to sacrifice, he would give portions of meat to his wife Peninnah and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave a double portion because he loved her, saying, "Aw, aw, that's really sweet." And the Lord had closed her womb. Because the Lord had closed Hannah's womb, her rival, dang old Peninnah, how dare she? Is that where the name Penny comes from? She's always harassing me, and maybe there's something there, I don't know. Her rival kept provoking her, in order to irritate her. The Lord went on year after year. Whenever Hannah went up to the house of the Lord, her rival provoked her till she wept and would not eat. Her husband Elkanah would say to her, "Hannah, why are you weeping? Why don't you eat? Why are you downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons?" And everybody say, "Elkanah, you blockhead." Has anyone ever told you that you should be happy because they're around? That's what Elkanah's like right now. Once they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh, Hannah stood up. Now Eli the priest was sitting on his chair by the doorpost of the Lord's house. And in deep anguish, Hannah prayed to the Lord, weeping bitterly. And she made a vow, saying, "Lord Almighty, if you only look to your servant's misery and remember me and not forget your servant, but give her a son, and then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head." Much like Samson, he's going to have those long dreadlocks, which I didn't get because when I went to Olivet, I had to cut my hair. It couldn't be touching my collar. Same thing with St. Joe Christian. It's not very biblical. And as she kept on praying to the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Hannah was praying in her heart, and her lips were not moving, but her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. And Eli thought she was drunk. Good old Eli. And said to her, "How long were you going to stay drunk? Put away your wine." I'm sure that's how he sounded, like a grumpy guy. And Hannah replied, "Not so, my lord. I am a woman who is deeply troubled." Uh-oh, where'd it go? It switched on me. "I have not been drinking wine or beer. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. Do not take your servant for a wicked woman. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief." Eli answered, "Go in peace, and may God, the God of Israel, grant you what you have asked him." She said, "May your servant find favor in your eyes." And she went her way and ate something, and her face was no longer downcast. Early the next morning, they arose and worshiped before the Lord and went back to their home at Ramah. Elkanah made love to his wife. I don't know what you say right there, but we'll just keep going. The youth pastor in me wants to come out, but I'm going to say, "Get behind me, Satan." And the Lord remembered her. So in the course of time, Hannah became pregnant and gave birth to a son, and she named him Samuel, saying, "Because I asked the Lord for him." When her husband Elkanah went up with all his family to offer the annual sacrifice to the Lord to fulfill his vow, Hannah did not go up. She said to her husband, "After the boy is weaned, I will take him and present him before the Lord, and he will live there always." And if you were curious, anywhere from 18 months to 5 years is how long it takes to wean a child back then. At least that's what my notes said in researching that, because I was curious. How old is Eli? Do what seems best to you, husband, Elkanah told her. Stay here until you have weaned him. Only may the Lord make good his word. So the woman stayed at home and nursed her son until she had weaned him. After he was weaned, she took the boy with her, young as he was, along with a 3-year-old bull, an ephah of flour, and a skin of wine, and brought him to the house of the Lord at Shiloh. And when the bull had been sacrificed, they brought the boy to Eli and said to him, Pardon me, my Lord, as surely as you live, I am the woman who stood here beside you praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked him. So now I give him to the Lord for his whole life, and he will be given over to the Lord, and he worshiped the Lord there. So I don't know how you feel, but if I was working at the church and someone just brought me their child, and like, here, I prayed for this child, and I promised I'd give him to the Lord, and he's going to work for you now. This 18-month to 5-year-old. I have 5-year-olds. I don't know if he'd be very much help working with me. So I don't know if this is, at this point, Eli sees this as a blessing or a trial or exactly what's going on. But I just want you to have that in your minds, that this is kind of a silly picture. At least it could be. But Eli was blessed. He worshiped. And we're going to flash forward a little bit. Samuel was ministering before the Lord, a boy wearing a linen ephod. Each year his mother made him a little robe. Oh, he got a little robe and took it to him when she went up with her husband to offer their annual sacrifice. So Eli would bless Elkanah's wife, saying, May the Lord give you children by this woman to take the place of the one she prayed for and gave to the Lord. And they would go home. And the Lord was gracious to Hannah, and she gave birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters. Meanwhile, the boy Samuel grew up in the presence of the Lord. And the boy Samuel continued to grow in stature and in favor with the Lord and with people. So, we've got our scripture there. This is the word of the Lord. And, we have the story of a woman who wants a child so desperately, and it kind of becomes her identity, that she's a barren woman, that she can't give birth, and she takes that to the Lord. And she lays out this fleece, if you will, this thing where, Lord, if you will do this, I will do this. And she is trusting her future to God in that moment. She's laying it down. She's saying, my identity as a woman who can't give birth, I give that to you. My present right now, I'm giving that to you. My future that's coming, I give that to you. And sometimes good things are withheld from us, aren't they? Can you think of any? And a time in your life you've really prayed for something and it was a good thing that could happen to you. Throw some out. Let me hear it. The lottery. That's on my list. That's funny. That Steve was the one who said that. He's probably scratched off some scratcher. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, if I could just win the lottery, that'd be a good thing. I'd give some money to the church and pay off all my debt, and it'd all be all good things, right? What else? A promotion. Yeah, that's a good thing. Lord, my tithe will go up. I'll be able to take care of my family better. Lord, why didn't you give me this promotion? What, Seamus? Real quick, come on. Skipping school. Lord, hey, I remember. I did not have my homework done, and Lord, just send a snow day. I don't care if it's June. Lord, you can do all things. Just send the snow. Send it, Lord, It doesn't matter for them. They're homeschooled. They don't get snow days. Shh. What else is there? Maybe, obviously, children, like Hannah. There's a job you might be hoping you get. What was it? A healing. Yeah, we're going to have some folks praying for healing after service here. Alan, are you one of them? Good. I sincerely hope that the Lord blesses the doctors helping you and you get the healing you're hoping for. A house, maybe. I know some folks have been hunting for houses. Maybe it's something good that you want to be rid of, like beavers. Pastor Steve, they're all gone, he thinks. I think Pastor Steve divides his time 50-50 hunting beavers and getting ready for church on Sunday and preaching. Now he can do, 100%. Or maybe even a relationship that was good. Maybe someone was in your life that you thought they were a blessing and the Lord saw fit to cut them out of your life. You didn't realize you needed them gone until they were gone, and you were able to go on. And sometimes we blame ourselves, and other times we might blame God for these good things being withheld, but it doesn't make it feel better, does it? And I can't say why. I can't look at each individual circumstance and say whether it was God protecting you and saying no, or making you wait for a better opportunity, or maybe you just needed to become a better person before you were ready for whatever good thing was being withheld. I'll tell you one thing, that there's a lot of times that I wanted something good that I thought was good. The Lord knew better, and he knew the circumstances of my life, and he knew I should wait. And Hannah, her child, I don't know how much you know about Samuel. We're not going to get into him because he's not an overlooked person in the Bible. We talk about Samuel all the time. But Hannah, his mom, she only gets like part of 2 chapters almost. Samuel's going to go on to crown the first 2 kings of Israel. He's going to institute the kingship. And it's interesting that when Luke goes to describe and compare Samuel and Jesus, that Jesus is going to be a new kind of king we haven't seen before. But that's more Bible nerdy stuff. I don't want to, some folks that's going, and again, we talk about people identifying themselves in a few things too. We like to identify ourselves by things that we are or possibly that we are not. And what's one of those? I think Steve could be one of the things I'm thinking of. During the fall, you like to identify yourself as a Chiefs fan. Absolutely. Or maybe when it gets voting time, you might identify yourself as a Republican or a Democrat. Or maybe you don't want to identify as one of those things, and you just say, I'm not any of them. Not either of them. They're all corrupt. They're all bad. I know some moms like to identify themselves as crunchy. Do you guys know what that is? I know. No. It means you don't buy anything processed. If you're really crunchy, it means you look in your cabinets and nothing's bad for you. It's all been really thoughtfully purchased. And so sometimes moms try to out-crunchy one another. It's a thing. Yeah. You think it's a joke, but it's real. I wish it was a joke. Sometimes we identify ourselves, well, I don't identify myself as a mom, but I identify myself as a parent. And then what happens when kids moves out? How many marriages ends after the kids leave the house? You were a parent for so long, you forgot who you were a spouse, or you forgot what it was to live without kids. What about identifying with who you were in the good old days? You have that vision of who you were, that if you had just been put in the football game, you could have won. like Uncle Rico and Napoleon Dynamite. You think back to, if we could just go back to this time. What about your job title? I'm an environmental health and safety coordinator for Altec. That sounds really fancy, but I'm actually the lowest person on the health and safety totem pole. For now. What about this? Do you identify as being made in God's image? Or do you identify as being one of God's masterpieces? You might think, well, there's a lot of different art styles. I might be one of those. I'm like modern art where it's just like a single line or something. But Hannah, she starts off defining herself as being a woman who can't give birth. But she ends up clinging to the Lord and calling upon him and asking for her deliverance from that. For him to take her from not being able to give birth to having a son that's going to bless the whole nation. She trusts in what he's going to do in their process. Hannah had made a choice. She trusted God with her future. She promised that if she had a child, it would have been enough. It would have been enough if she just had Samuel. She would have had a child. She would have not been just that identity of a barren woman. But God blessed her even more. He gave her 5 more children. And some of you are like, that's a little too much blessing. No, 2, boy and a girl, that would have been great, fantastic. The Kleins are like, nah, we want a football team worth of kids, right? It would have been enough. Even if he was working in the temple his whole life, and she had never had any more children, that would have been enough for God to work in that way. Saying yes to God doesn't mean that things are going to be easy. But they will be better. You need to take time to find your identity in him, not in the stuff you do, the space that you fill, the shows you watch. Your identity is in Jesus. And so I've asked and I've prepared a skit with the help of Presley Baker. And we're going to perform that for you now. It's called God's Chisel. And it is tied into what I've been teaching here. So I just hope you enjoy my theatrics. That's what I'm told I'm known for. Clyde is known for going long. David's known for theatrics, right? All right, come on up, Presley.
Ephesians 2:10 says that we are God's workmanship, in essence, his masterpiece. Now, I don't know about you, but when I get up in the morning and I look in the mirror, I don't see a masterpiece. Maybe a Picasso. But I want to be a masterpiece. I want to be everything that God has created me to be. And so I go to him and I say, God, do whatever it takes to get things out of my life that don't need to be there. Mold me into the image of your son so that I can be your masterpiece. Whoa, who are you?
Well, I'm God.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am. You said the prayer, so here I am. That's how it works.
Okay. If you're God, then make it snow in here.
See, if I made it snow in here, get all yucky, I don't want to do that.
See, you're not God.
Why do you say that?
God would not say yucky.
Well, I use it all the time. It's Greek.
Oh, well, if you're God, then what does Lamentations 15:9 say?
Well, Lamentations is a short book. It's only got 5 chapters, so nothing.
Oh, why is it so short?
I got tired of lamenting.
Oh, if you're God, then who is going to win the World Series this year?
You know what? I'm not so much into playing games. Why are you so interested in playing them?
You are God. You answer my question with a question.
Oh, I did. Didn't I? Yeah, I do that, don't I? Okay, see, I did it again. Anyways, here, step right up here.
Hey, what's this about?
Oh, these are the tools I'm going to use to make you into my masterpiece.
Oh, okay. Hang on. I thought you were a carpenter.
That's my son.
Whoa. How do you know what to chisel and what to leave?
Well, I take out all the things that aren't of me. Kind of like the dead weight.
Oh, speaking of that, could you just chisel right in here? I can't seem to get rid of it. The other went away, but I've tried exercise and I've watched what I ate. I even tried Pilates for a while. That was awkward. But if you could chisel right in here.
All right, do you want to talk, or can I chisel? Which is going to be talk, chisel, chisel, talk?
No,
Talk,
chisel.
talk. Okay, most of my children like to talk.
Not me. Bring on the chisel.
Okay, here we go. You have a lot of anger. All right, and some pride. You compare yourself to others instead of me. You're lazy, but you pretend like you're really, really busy. You have a problem with lust.
Okay, time out. I do not have a problem with lust.
You don't have a problem with lust.
No, I can do it anytime I want. Whoa. Hang on. Maybe we can take a little time out. I mean, I think I'm doing pretty good.
You are doing pretty good. I'll give you that. But when you look in the mirror, who do you see?
I see me.
Okay. Then I need to keep chiseling because ultimately you and everybody else needs to see me. Okay, here we go.
Okay, hold on. Don't take this the wrong way. It's just that when I start to look more like your son, people get uncomfortable around me. Even my friends at church are like, oh, you're holier than thou. Why wouldn't you do that?
Okay, so what you're doing right now is that you would rather play God in certain areas of your life than for me to be God over your whole life.
I didn't say that.
But that's what you meant.
Yes, it is. It's hard to talk to you. You know everything I'm thinking. I'm just saying you've done good work. Maybe we can just take a little break, a little time out. We'll come back to it.
Okay, what you're doing right now, it's common. It's called controlling. So do you want to control, or can I chisel? Or chisel or control, chisel?
No, chisel.
All right, okay, here we go.
But can we chisel where I want to chisel?
That's called control.
Okay.
You've been holding on to this for a long time. Are you ready?
Yeah. It hurts.
This hurts me a lot more than it hurts you.
Right. I don't think you understand this pain.
I don't understand pain. Don't talk to me about pain. I know all about pain. I sent my son to die on a cross for sin and for pain. But I also did it for another reason, to give you freedom. Do you know what insanity is? It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And there's these things in your life, even back to high school, that you've been going to that do not work. They hurt you. And there are these empty wells that you go to whenever you're angry, whenever you're lonely and tired, but they do not work.
Okay, I'm thinking that maybe...
Your thoughts are not my thoughts.
Okay, but if we went another way...
Your ways are not my ways.
Okay, look, I can't be good.
You can't be good? I made you good. You can be good. What?
Nothing. You wouldn't understand.
I, God of all the universe, wouldn't understand that something one of my creation had to say.
It's just, God, I've let you down so much.
You are never holding me up. I hold you up with my victorious, righteous right hand. In this relationship, I hold you up. Don't you forget it.
Okay, chisel away. Just be prepared for what you're going to find in there. I know who's inside there, and because, God, I get up every morning and I look in the mirror, and it's a scared little kid who gets up every day, tries to dress like an adult and act like an adult, but can't. So just be prepared for what you're going to find in there.
You've listened to too many voices for far too long that aren't of me. You really think you're junk, don't you? You really, really think you're junk? I don't make junk. What would that say about me? How can I show you that my love for you knows no bounds? I know. Reach in your back pocket.
What?
Reach in your back pocket.
Why?
You're really arguing with me right now? Reach in your back pocket.
I love Malachi Johnson.
The other side.
Oh, sorry, I'm dating him.
I was there.
Dear God, today I am turning everything over to you. I'm not going to hold on to anything anymore. Your word says that you will make me your masterpiece and use me to do great things. I don't see how that's possible, but I want that with all that I am. So please, do whatever it takes to make me what you want. I love you, God.
I love you too, Presley. And I love you too much to leave you where you are. And so this salvation that you hold on to, don't make it some sentimental gush or some head knowledge. And don't compare yourself to others. That's just trivial nonsense. I want you to work out your salvation in every area of your life. Can you do that? I just want you to know that you are my original masterpiece. You are the one I find favor in. And this, don't think of this as a prison, but think of this as a father disciplining their child. A father disciplines the one he loves.
I know, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. But you bought into the lie thinking it was going to be easy when you said yes to me. It's not how this works. I want you to do something. I want you to look out there, and I want you to say, Presley is God's original masterpiece.
Presley?
No. Not the way you see you. Not the way any of them see you. The way I see you.
Presley is God's original masterpiece.
Yes, you are.
And so are you. God doesn't make junk. You are an original masterpiece.
Worship team, come on up.